I'm about to show you an apple tree that I planted about 6.5 years, almost 7 years ago. And the apple tree came from a nursery in London. And the amazing part about it was that I didn't know how big the apples were going to grow. These apples came from Europe. And it turned out it was a fantastic eating apple. And also it could be used for heating, for cooking. Right, so but what it's taught me in the last 6.5 years, the first 2 or 3 years, I had about 25 to 30 apples off this tree. The weather's changed dramatically in the last 2 or 3 years, weather warming and so on and so on. We had a lot of blossoms this year, a lot of blossoms, and the problem I've got is that the blossom were being pollinated by the bees and everything else. Was that all happening? And then one day, out of nowhere, this little mini cyclone came from the park, the Clearbury Park, came from the park, and whistled, and it took 80% of the blossoms out, right? 80%. So that means that 80% of apples were gone, right? No more blossoms. So, but what was left was about enough to do 15 apples, right? And they're about that big when they grow like that, right? So I've learned this lesson. You don't rely on just one apple tree, because apples are really good for you. So after this video, I'm going to show you I've managed to get a small, what I call a Malus, which is a gala. It's from Malus Jenny, what I call it genetics, and it's called and it's known more commonly as a gala apple, which is a beautiful, small, crisp, and sweet apple. Right. So this one here. Is, like I said, 6.5 years old. It's in very good shape. It's got about probably 15 feet tall, and about probably, good 15 feet, probably 14 feet wide. So it is, but have a look at the trunk. Look at the size of the trunk. It's marvellous. Look at the size of the trunk. Huge trunk, right? And that trunk would be about, at least 8 inches wide. Right, so it's in the corner of the block. It's very receptive here. It's got a lot of sun in the morning. From 8 o'clock till 2 o'clock you get sun. So it is well fed with sun, but I've got to put more minerals into it. So next year when we get blossom, we'll get a lot more apples. That tree should give us about 200 to 300 apples by now. 200 to 300. Imagine receiving that many apples in one season. So you can eat it. You can make jam with it. You can put it in the fridge and the refrigerator for the next, when it's winter, when it's cold, and so on and so on. So apple trees are very, very good investment. They'll give you fruit for 30 to 35 to 40 years, but you've got to know exactly how to treat them. And this one has done very well. When the trunk on that was very small, like that when I planted, very small, about an inch. Now it's about 8 inches. And growing, and you can see it's a very strong tree, right? So there's apples that are on it, about 15 apples, but I'm grateful for 15 apples. But I hope next year that we don't get that mini cyclone which caused so much damage to the actual blossoms. If you like this channel, I would strongly advise you to subscribe to our YouTube channel, and because you're going to learn a hell of a lot about gardening and life generally, and how you feed yourself really good organic food, right? Now, this afternoon, I'm planting my 23rd tree. 23rd tree. So we've got the front garden, right? We've got a corner block. We've got a front garden. We've got the side garden, and then we've got the rear garden, right? Now, I want to explain something why I'm planting this apple. Now, I love apples. Apples are really, really good for you. And I remember that when I met a lady she was about 92 years old from Tasmania in Australia, right? And this lady had the skin of a 55, 60-year-old. And I was amazed how good her skin was. So I said to her, how come your skin is so good? And she said, well, from the time I was born, basically, as soon as I started getting teeth, my mum and dad had an orchard, an apple orchard, and they gave me 2 apples every day. She got in that habit, and she kept eating 2 apples every day until she was 92 and still eating apples. And she looked marvelously young, right? And I realized from that interview I had with her that the apples are a really powerful tool to keep your skin in very good condition. Now, why am I planting another apple tree? I've got one already. But what happened, as I've said before to some of our patients, is that I planted that tree, the other tree, 6.5, 7 years ago in a corner at the back, right? And what happened next, the blossoms there were more blossoms, beautiful pink blossom, pink white blossom. There were more blossoms than leaves. But then all of a sudden, we live next to a park, 300 metres from Clearbury Park. All of a sudden, one afternoon, this little mini cyclone came around and took out 80% of the blossom. 80% gone. Now, of course, when the blossoms are gone, the bees can't pollinate anything, and therefore you're left with about 20% of apples. So this year, that's what happened. And what happened as a result, I've only got 15 apples on the tree. I should have about 150 to 200, right? So I thought, okay, I've learned my lesson. So I went down to one of my favourite nurseries, and I found one of my preferred apples called Gala, right? Gala, right? Malus domestica Gala. Now Gala, as you can see, it's a lovely crisp red apple, and it's a favourite for many, many people, right? Now the good thing about this one, because we're in London, what happens is your blossoming time is February and March, okay? And then the pruning is from January and December. That's when you prune. And then the ripe for picking is in October and November. So basically when you're in winter or going to winter, you're picking up the apples. In October and November, when you need the apples for vitamin C, it's there. So that's why I picked this one, because the actual value of the system is that it allows you to pick apples in October and November. And that's when apples are quite expensive. So this is going to be a marvelous addition. So if you look at the hole down there, right, this is the corner of the house, right? Have a look, corner of the house. You can see up here we've got blossoming up flowers off in our pots, and there's the apple tree here, right? It's about probably 3 feet high. So this is the pot. I've already dug it to make sure that it accommodates the actual. So it'll be on a corner block, and it will have a beautiful like relief, if you like, against the house. And I will show you one of my favorite tools. This is an Australian invention. It's called a root slayer. Have a look at that, right? This has got a fantastic handle, very strong, and you've got a sharp edge here, you've got a saw here, and you've got very good support for your feet when you're digging in. So this was quite a bit rocky here, so I was able to use this, and I was able to also use this little mini shovel, very handy. And then that created the hole, right, like that. And I'm going to show you, so this is ready now. I've got lawn clippings on the bottom, right? You know, with the lawn clippings is going to give nitrogen. And then and I've dug the hole quite deep, so I've got lawn clippings in there. So then the apple is going to be picked up like that. That's going to be kicked off. So that's going to be hammered off. So that will be just the root system. And then the apple then will go like this, without the pot, of course. It'll go like that, you see? And it'll be staked up. And it will look very small, see, because I'm about 5'9". You can see I'm next to it. It's about my right thigh, right? So within about 2 or 3 years, that should grow to about 6 to 8 feet, right? So, and I look forward to sharing with my wife and myself the beautiful, fresh, homegrown, organic Gala apple. If you like this video, I would strongly recommend that you subscribe to our YouTube channel called Planet Wellness, right? And I'm going to show you now how I've dug the hole for the Gala apple. It's about 3 feet. I've dug the hole. I've prepared the hole to quite deep, about 1.5 feet. I put good soil back in. I've put lawn clippings, which are organic. Put lawn clippings so that'll give nitrogen to the root system. And this is the lovely tree that I got. It's grafted, as you can see, it's grafted here. See, that's the graft there. It's grafted there. It's very healthy, right? It needs to be pruned back. So some of this can need to be pruned back here, but essentially, that's where it'll be. Now, I'll show you the system I work on. Now, I've watered this already. You got to water this, and then what you do, you have like that. You can use a hammer, but you can use this like that, and watch carefully. I go like that. I go like that, you see? And what actually happens now, can you see what's happened? You see that? There's the root ball, okay? You can see the root system here. like this, you see. And so that is not root bound, that is actually going to grow. These root systems are going to, when they get in the hole, they're going to have good soil around them. And what's going to happen, they're going to then grow really strongly down and sideways, all right? And that's going to do a beautiful addition to the corner of this block, right? So in about probably 3 years' time, we should be getting between 30 to 50 apples off it. So that's the joy of planting. Now an apple tree lasts about 35 to 40 years, and if you treat it well, it will give you apples from the 3rd year onwards. And you can get as many as 300 apples in some trees. That's how good they are. So this one's called Gala. It's one of my favorites. It's very crisp. It's red color, very crisp, juicy, and there's nothing like a fresh, organic, homegrown apple. Now, if you like this video, I would strongly advise you to subscribe to our YouTube channel, where you'll get amazing information, sensational information, which you probably won't get anywhere else. And so this afternoon, it's probably about 18 degrees. I'm planting our 2nd apple tree. I've got a big German European apple in the corner at the back of the block, but I decided to put another apple here because we lost about 80% of our blossoms this year. So I should have got 200 or 300 apples. I've only got 15 because that's gardening. So the mini cyclone came from the park, and 80% of the blossoms were gone. So I thought, right, I'm not going to have that again. So after that, I secured myself a Gala apple, right? And this Gala apple is red, it's crisp, and it's very sweet. It's got a lovely taste. It's very good for digestion. So now I've taken the actual pot off it, right? And you can see the graft is here. Usually it's wild plum. You see the graft there? Now that's wild plum. It's grafted, very strong. And then this part from here to here, you can see the apple DNA here is different to this one. That's what they call the DNA. So because this is a wild one, it's going to grow very, very well. And you can see it's very strong already. Now, when I planted it, I'll be cutting off all the dead wood there. See all that? I'll be trimming some of these off there where the leaves are, because that's been wrongly pruned at the moment. So I've got to cut about here, right? And then within about 3 or 4 years, that should be giving us about maybe between 120 to 300 apples. Then an apple tree will last, if you take care of it, it will last between 35 to 40 years. So this is on a corner block. Now, I've already dug the hole, right? And I've put quite a bit of lawn clippings on the bottom. Now the lawn clipping is going to provide oxygen, nitrogen oxygen, and then watch carefully. Now, I'm going to position that like this. You're going to be careful how you position it. You're going to position like that, so that the tree then, you see that? You wouldn't put it like that against the wall like that, because then you hit the house. You do it that way. You see that? You would do it this way, and then watch carefully. I go like this. You see? Go like that. Okay, and then at that point, I get the shovel. All right, and I go like that, and I hold it like that, and then I get the soil, and I put like this. Can you see that? Now the soil is then worked through so that it secures the base of the apple tree, and then I just push it a bit more. Now I'll be putting better soil than that on top of it further. So you can see here where I've already started to secure it, right? And then I use the edge of this, good little shovel this, and I put it like that, like this, and then will secure it further like that. Now later on, if you notice the gap at the back here, so I've used the existing soil, which is quite good, but then I'm going to put Jack's Magic compost in that gap at the back. Right, now can you see how I've positioned the tree? Now the tree's going to grow. It's going to grow up like that, and it's going to go towards the sun. So the sun comes from at 8 o'clock in the morning, the sun's here, and that tree will get the sun when the sun shines from 8 o'clock till 2 o'clock this way. So that will get about 6 hours of sunshine every day in summer, and that's what will encourage the growth, right? So if you look at it, it's a great position because you've got the sun from here in the morning, and you've got the sun from here this afternoon. So it's going to grow very well because it's going to have that amazing amount, between 6 to 8 hours of sunshine. Now, of course, I've got to take care. I've got to prune it when I've planted properly. I've got to prune it, take all the the wasted the top end up pruned. So this is, I can see, a very healthy plant. That's why I picked it. Cost me £17. Very good investment, because that'll give us about, like I said, between 50 to 150 apples per year from the third year onwards. So you just got, and 3 years goes past very fast, right? So one of the tools you must use to plant is a shovel like that. It's a handy shovel, very handy. And then this is one of my favourite tools for digging through soil. It's got rock in it. It's called a root. It's an Australian design, Root Slayer. Have a look at that, marvellous. Got teeth here, sharp edge here. You can take rocks and roots out. This one here, you can see very good flange, very well designed like that. You hold it like that, you put your foot like that, good boots, and bang. So that is a fantastic tool. Whoever designed that used these brains, all right? So looking forward to giving you more results in a year's time, 2 years' time, of the progress of the apple tree.